We're 1 minute away. Friends, extremely excited about this. Yeah.
Yes, we can.
We're 1 minute away.
Unbelievably hype.
Hi, everybody. First of all, I'm so excited to welcome you to the first ever inaugural Chaotic Interface Design Lab, Chaotic Conversations. I want to thank everyone that was involved in this. We're very open in our Discord. You can see who was involved in this. So to kick things off, we're going to start with an award ceremony. And so the Chaotic Interface Design Lab, as you, I'm sure, know, presents the Chaotic an award for efforts in chaos, achievements in chaos. That's what it is, achievements in chaos. And so we're extremely excited to present an Achievements in Chaos award to Sam Levine, artist, prolific media persona, prophet, protege, pedagogical genius. His work on Zoom Escaper, if you are not familiar with, is really, I think, the best work to come out of the pandemic, which is why he has been nominated by our committee to receive the award for chaotic achievement. So as both a little demo of how this conference is going to run and for the sake of the giving Sam his award, what we're going to do is every time you see like a watch stream icon come up in one of the little boxes, that's someone sharing their stream. And so the way that this is going to work is that each speaker is going to share their stream at the time at which they're allotted to speak. So that's how we're going to make sure that no one runs long, because the next person will just share their stream. So when you see in your Discord a little watch stream icon pop up, you click on that, and that's how we're going to watch each stream. And so for those of you who are not so familiar with Discord, a quick rundown, you'll see at the bottom there's a bunch of different little things for like your camera, which is disabled if you're not speaking, screen sharing. There's also on the bottom right a pop out button, which will pop out the video chat interface to be like your whole screen, which might be a better viewing experience for you. And at the top right, you can also see that you can toggle focus, which will either, do a gridded view or a focused view of the speaker or the main screen. And I would recommend having the focused view, which will, put in the center the shared screen. So to commence our award ceremony for Sam Levine, we are going to hit watch stream on Aman's stream here. And I'm going to narrate the award ceremony here. So as you can see, we have these zip file awards. And so Sam, Aman, will you please do the ceremonial uncommenting of the code?
Can we applaud?
Wait for it. And you'll see on our shelf here is an award for Zoom Escaper. And you can explore this shelf as well on our website, which is an IP address, which you can find in the Discord. Sam, no pressure, but now would be a great time to give a speech if you wanted to.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I prepared a speech that I can hear myself through your computer, Claire. I've prepared a speech. I just have to bring it up. One second. Okay. To the Academy, my coworkers and my fans, thank you. This is the realization of a huge life dream. I am truly and honestly thrilled. If my work somehow people's lives a little better in the duration of this film, I feel like it is a success. You've all given me a chance to live my passion, and I thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart. Okay. Should I? Thank you so much. I'll start my speech. Is there anything else? Should I start sharing? Should I give my talk, or is something else going to happen? I'll just go. Okay. Great. I think I'm shit. Okay. So here's my talk. This was my speech. Okay, I'm gonna start. So for its entire existence, sabotage has been a loaded word. But what is it loaded with? It's too much echo. Hold on a second. Let me just turn this down a little bit. It's not that better. It's a little bit better. Okay. So for its entire existence, sabotage has been a loaded word. But what is it loaded with? In her 1917 pamphlet, Sabotage, Elizabeth Gurley defines the term as simply all of efficiency with the aim of affecting the profits of the boss. A series of practices where the worker intentionally reduces the productive capacity of their work. These practices might center around the individual worker themselves and could simply involve working more slowly or clumsily to a different and for extreme situations, it could involve actually breaking machines as well. So generally speaking, these practices can be described as gaslighting your boss, making subtle or not so subtle workplace issues that are difficult to down on specific tactics. As for notes, specific modes of sabotage are unique to each workplace, contingent on equipment, efficient labor, individual ingenuity of workers, and are as flexible as the imagination and passions of the man. The practice of intentionally withdrawing efficiency has existed as long as people have worked for other people. The term sabotage itself, however, is relatively newer. Noisily as if wearing clunky wooden shoes or slip-ons. The phrase sabotage can take on a threatening, violent connotation. The act is the notion that workers engage in practices to slow down. Was useful definition that sabotage practices interior profit as an articulated with independent and particular practices, because the objective of these practices are political tools to engage others. You will not slow down to take note at all, this is to take into account the cost of the dangerous response from this particular situation, rather than is the understanding that sabotage is not subjective, rise to a broad order, questioning, and eventually altering the fundamental attack. Short, sabotage reveals where value comes from. It reveals that value comes from work. As rights, sabotage is unfair, is work, or unfair is wage, is an attempt on the part of the worker to limit his contribution. Portion is his wage, remuneration, or the value. What might sabotage be like in 2021? In many workplaces, of course, it looks almost the same as it did back then. For others, these workers have been radically transformed by personal computing, the shift in tools is naturally coming from a shift in tactics. But also more than the last labor, we also gig workers rely on personal assistance. So that classic image of the saboteur resonated in a dynamic floor, mill, There's a well-documented emotional awareness. There's also awareness in actual physical material tools that produce work, physical material tools that produce that work. So that's all in all aspects of life, in my own work, I'm interested in exploring concepts of sabotage, physically and materially psychically and materially what does sabotage look like your laptop? What does it mean in your work organization? Your social life, the relations that you use to communicate with friends and family. To produce labor inefficiencies, it also produces social familial efficiencies, romantic. In this sense, digital sabotage might also act as self-sabotage. In order to get free work, you might have to voluntarily for yourself. To this end, every project allows you to play forms of digital sabotage, and as a side effect, self-sabotage. One of them, Slow Hot Future, is a website that gives your people so that you activity most stuff doesn't allow the most simple, slowest form of productivity. This is from a user test that I paid for. The Good Life is a subscription service that sends you 225,000 notes clogging up your inbox with often drama and reminders and users are spam filter, and then also allows you to understand the glass of the more recently, Suzu Deleter and the Suzu Escaper get prepared to go into work by sabotaging the video call. Suzu Deleter is a small cross-platform application that runs on the bar versus interface. I have it up here, running right now. Suzu Deleter turns on the cost suggest for the on your computer and it finds it. Audio stream. And it adds different effects to your voice. It sound like connection or echo. Space. All these projects have to convert the complex narratives around your technology. They add the friction rather than remove it, and create problems rather than attempt to solve. At the same time, from a technical standpoint, my best to make these projects as easy as possible. And I do hope this will make this a coordinated fashion when and if more so I hope this is examine that best power adoption of our lives by us. Generate an understanding of self-help sentences and also wealth generation as a means of production. As a means of production is also a social point pressure, apply, and resistance and exercise. Like all forms of and therefore verify the transparency of values. More importantly, I want to imagine tactics to genuine race self-sabotage as a real political ally. And last is to say, what is the self that you sabotage? What is the self that you mistrust? The self-made word is or Steve Jobs, one emerging jazz sometimes writing self that should hesitate to obstruct and foil at every opportunity. Thank you.
This is an interlude from Pixie. All right, come here. So thank you so much. Hold on, let me turn on my video. Sam, thank you so much. We're really grateful to be able to present this award to you. Pixie, come here. My dog is also extremely chaotic, though not award-winning yet. And then, so just for those of us that just got here, just to reiterate, each person is going to give a little speech, give a little presentation, and if you're not familiar with Discord, you're going to see a watch stream icon pop up in the chat. You're going to click on that, and that's how you're going to see the next person's live stream. And so since we have 5 minutes to kill, I would like to go back and give everyone a chance to explore the page on which Sam's award lives. If you weren't here for the ceremonial unzipping of the file and uncommenting of the code, you can explore it on your own computer. Aman, if you're there, would you mind putting the link to that page in the general chat? Let's see if it goes. Here. Awesome. So let's, I'm going to share my screen so we can explore that together and kill 5 minutes here. Is there a YouTube stream for this? Says Leah. Yes, there is. It's, if you go up higher in the general chat, you'll find the stream to YouTube so that everyone can experience this chaos together. So here, I'm going to share my screen so that we can all see our beautiful website. Shout out to everyone who worked on the website as well. Here you can see we have our upcoming events listed. We have this KRD interface. And so if you go to the Achievements and Chaos section, you can see the shelves for the Achievements and Chaos Awards, and you can rotate it and click it. It's really beautiful. Okay. So the question is, whoever, I can't remember who is next in the presentation, but do you guys want to just, does the next person just want to start early now? Or I can just chaotically stall for another 4 minutes, but I feel like nobody really wants to hear me do that. So I can't remember who comes after Sam. Oh, Q&A. Beautiful. Yes. Does anyone have any questions for Sam? Thank you. Sam, I have a question for you. Is, when you make your work, and like when you've made your work in the past, have you always had this core idea of sabotage, or is this sort of something that you've come to understand in your work looking back at it as a whole?
It hasn't always. I mean, I think the thing that's always interesting is how to put this in technology more than anything, and how to create problems rather than solutions. So in that sense, yes, but not like specifically in the sabotage. A few of them were like this, like slow hunt is sabotage, and like the Enron project, even though like we're all well past that, also sort of like I was interested in thinking about originally, like just like a way to really and like make your email list. And then I think that project is like a little bit more interesting than just that.
That's lovely. Thank you for that. So Leah would like to know, to ask the obnoxious question for artists, where do you get your ideas from?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes I read hackers and then I just like see what's I just like read things and then that helps me sometimes.
Here's a question. Tika would like to know, what about your LinkedIn? What's going on your LinkedIn, Sam?
Oh, right. That's a good example. So like my LinkedIn is just like it's all so like one cool thing is they're like you're kind of putting in your job history, or just use their autocomplete to like write sort of like you type a letter So I think it says that I was like a teacher for like a military contractor. And it was, I don't remember. It's all just like, it's all just.
Ashish would like to know if we can get a live tour of your LinkedIn. I'll stop sharing my screen.
For some reason I have three browsers open. So it's a little bit.
Oh, Tiga threw it in the general chat.
Okay, so you threw it in general chat. Okay, great. Yeah, so what does it say? It says, it's like, it says that a supervisor at Sprint, a freelance art director at Lockheed USA. So if you're Vodafone and if you're registered at KLM, that I have an agreement with them because so that's my
Rendition.
that's my I should probably add to it. I'll probably use a little bit more.
Wow, beautiful. Okay, so now we've successfully filled our 10 minutes. Who's up next? I think it's Amon. So like everybody click his, the latest watch stream icon that popped up in your grid or focus feed.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Oh, perfect. Okay, so I'm giving my presentation in this form because I was going to share the screen from this device, but you know my presentation is on residue and the shape of code, or maybe the shape of computation, and the residues it leaves behind. So, normally code looks like this, you know, it's just like some lines in like a box, and then sometimes there's like other boxes with more lines. And then like when you run it, you know, it's like this, and then it's like this, and then it's like that, and then it's like that, and sometimes it like goes over there, and then it goes over here. But then you could also have times where it like, you know, goes like there, and then there. So it's kind of like, you know, if you put it all straight, it's kind of like that. The code just goes in a straight line, but sometimes it goes back, but then it keeps going forward, and sometimes it goes back, and it keeps going forward. And it is known that, you know, it will eventually keep going forward and forward, because if it kept doubling back, it would never end. And so it's like, you know, why would you write that? So that doesn't happen. But then you can also think of computation and code as like this, you know, so like something is here and then it's there, but then it's like, you know, you gotta like get in between there. And there's so many ways you could go. Like you could go like that, but you could also go like, you know, this, but you could also go like this. But you could also go like there, and then you could come back down here and then go there. So it's like there's so many different ways to do it. It's kind of wild. And that's what makes, you know, coding a thing. And, you know, you can also have code that looks like this. They like put this like symbol, which is like a wave with a line. I think it's called like a chopper rake, because like this part spins around, and then like this part is like the pivot, you know? And some say it's also called, not that, but this. And so, you know, it's like, I don't know, but, yeah. So, you know, sometimes you like change the code, so it starts off like that, but then you like shrink it down a bit, but where does it go? You know, it's like if it was this big, but then it's like this big now, where did all of that information go? Like, was it really ever there? Or did you just imagine it? Like, you lost information, but usually it's considered good to make it smaller. So what if your code looks like this? What does that even mean? Because normally, you know, you start off at one place and then you go to different places. But what does it look like if you start off at many places and go to one place? So what does this have to do with residue? And what is residue? Well, residue is like this, you know, it's like you have one guy, and then like inside that guy is like another guy, and then inside that guy is like one more guy. It's like a turducken of computation. And, you know, even though, you know, you might try and like skimp on like the differences in sizes between the different guys, like this could be a really big guy and this could be a really small guy, it's like, even if that's what they should ideally be. One of them should be really big and the one side should be really small. But you could skimp on it and make them like almost all the same size, but that wouldn't work because they wouldn't fit. So you have to leave a little gap, and that gap is the residue. It's the residue. And, the same thing exists kind of in like the universe. So like there's like a universe 4, and then there's like a universe 5, and then a 6, and then a 7. But there's like a bit of residue, even if you put one universe inside the other, there's still going to be all this like other stuff left over. But from the perspective of universe 5, all the other stuff doesn't matter. So where did the information go? Well, that's residue. So it's like, you start off here, and then you're like, oh, I want to like, copy this universe. So it's like, oh, I'll just do it there. And then, I'll like do it again. It's like, who even cares anymore? But then there's a problem because in each one, you will have more and more residue until your residue gets so big that your residue is its own universe. But then you might be like, oh, what if I want to like turn my residue universe into its own thing? And you could do that, but then you have a problem because sideways from that, you have this other whole stack of universes, and it's like, what does it even mean? Because sometimes things are just like cells that are just like interacting and bouncing around, and you can't see because, well, everything's in the way. So this is also residue because the residue of my stream is blocking what I want to show you, and yet that is my current stream, and yet I am still showing you that. So what is the residue and what is the thing? The end.
Wow, that was really beautiful. Thank you so much, Aman. Does anyone have any questions for Aman in the chat? I have a question for you. Can you talk about the residue, as an example of residue in the talk that you just gave? Do you feel like you were referencing, it was a self-referential residue situation? I'm going to turn off my video. I feel like it's tough.
Can I give you an example of residue in my talk that I gave?
Yes, please.
Like a residue that was intrinsically present in the talk itself? Well, one residue would be, me giving this talk, but instead of sharing my screen, it's like I'm using this camera, which is pinned to my shirt, and so the residue in that is me having to consider, the fact that this camera is pinned to me, not just sharing my screen, and the residue of that choice remains in the sort of actions that I am able to choose and perform.
Whoa. And how do you feel, what do you feel like is the relationship between residue and chaos?
Well, chaos can be thought of as two different ways, at least, if not more. And one way you can think of chaos is sort of a mixing, an ergodic mixing, in which everything gets mixed together and every point reaches every other point eventually. And in some way, all of this process is incredibly messy. It leaves no residue. Everything is thoroughly mixed together. Nothing is left behind or put on a different path or otherwise used to support something else. The other kind of chaos is sort of a growth where you could think of a tree which grows branches and each of those branches becomes a tree and so on and so on. That is a different sort of chaos in which there's lots and lots of residue, an exponentially increasing amount of residue. So chaos is almost orthogonal to residue, but you can often classify chaos by the kind of residue it creates and leaves behind.
Whoa, that's blowing my mind. Here's a question from Will. Says, how much residue must accumulate before it stands up and becomes a residue?
I think it depends, because what really defines a residue is not so much the residue itself, but rather us, who look at the residue and turn it into a residue in our minds. So
Whoa.
You should be asking yourself that question.
Whoa. Caroline would like to know, what are some risks of residue?
There's a number of risks of residue. For instance, it could require you to acquire products such as Residue Gone to remove residue. It builds up, and like if you're bad at keeping your place clean, then like you'll have a lot of residue. But although some may say that's a risk of residue, I also say that's a benefit of residue, for it grows whether you want it to or not, and in some way it can be a source of inspiration as much as something that is risky to have. So I say there are no risks to residue.
Is residue permanent?
No. And yes, for residue will always exist and has always existed, but its form continually changes. For we might one day recognize what previously we considered to be residue to be not residue, but to do that we will have to leave behind something else as the residue.
That's really great. Thank you so much. There's a bunch of more questions for you in the chat, in the general chat, that I think people would really appreciate you answering.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you,
and everyone
Aman.
else.
All right, who's up next? I should have put a schedule in front of me. Okay, Shar. So everyone click on the watch stream button for Shar's channel.
Hi everyone. I'm Shar. Oh, can you see me all right?
We can see your slides, we can't see you.
Oh, let me turn on the V. Okay, cool. Now you can see me and my slides.
Perfect.
Okay, hi, I'm Shar. I'm from the sheet of data. It says your stream is still running. Pause the previous state. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. We can see it.
Okay. Well, this talk is about email. I was going to talk about something else, but then I broke it, and so this talk is going to be about email instead. So, yes, on top of being Shar, and on top of my pronouns being she, they, I'm also an avid email user. So let's get started. Let's get excited about email. But why? After all, like many tools, email is a wartime tool. It was made for the DARPANet, which was part of like the Department of Defense in the U.S. to it was funded by military, and it was made to basically just be able to communicate between part of like military technology. So why are we getting excited about it? And also the origin story of email is contested. There is currently an anti-vaxxer guy who is claiming to be the founder of email, and the Smithsonian was like, okay. And then there was some evidence that came out that he was more like a important person in email, but not exactly the creator. And the Smithsonian was like, okay, fine, we'll take you off. And then they put like Roy Tomlinson as it. So it's like this whole like contested argument of like who created email. And also there's also spam email. This is one of the lowest voted Stack Overflow questions on how to send 100,000 emails weekly using PHP. People hated it so much, and they went out of their way to downvote this question. So why? Well, email is actually super metal, if you think about it, really super hardcore. It's only relies on a protocol that was made in the 70s, and the time scale of the internet, email is ancient. And so because of that, it has many mystical properties to it. And I'm going to go over a little bit of what the mystical properties of email is. And also, like it would be cool if we just like kind of maintained stuff that we already have instead of like making new stuff, but that's like beside the point. This is email. It's actually not very chaotic, but because of the way that it's so simple, SMTP is the protocol. It stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Because it's so simple, that's what makes it so chaotic. So, for example, if you wanted to send an email on your command line, you would open up a port like this, whatever. Like you'd use Telnet or Netcat. So if you're on Windows, you'd use Telnet, Linux, or whatever, Netcat, and then you just say hello. Like as part of the protocol, you just say like hello, H-E-L-O, 1L. Nice to meet you, computer. And like you can say whatever you want after the H-E-L-O. And then you just say who you are. And so there's no way for SMTP to verify who you are. And so you can just say whoever you are. You can see like, I'm the king of the world. And like SMTP is like, okay, that's something that's called spoofing. That people abuse that sometimes. And then you just say who you're sending it to, the data, we're all familiar with this. This is for the clients. And then you just send your email and you end it with a period. It's super adorable. Wow. Oh my gosh. But there's a lot of problems that come with that. Emails turn into this horrible Frankenstein of a protocol. There's all these things that are attached on top of it for security because there's no way to verify who you are. And also, just sending this, you don't get like attachments or anything like that. So it's like a total Frankenstein of a protocol. And it's really complicated and hard to even come close to implementing it. So why are we getting excited about email? It kind of sucks. I just kind of described all these reasons why it sucks. But, well, I was thinking like, how do I get people excited about email? Well, I was thinking like, what's hot right now? There's Bitcoin, it's pretty hot. There's 3D printing, super hot. Well, actually, it's less hot. Machine learning, really hot. And so I'm thinking like, what's at the intersection of all of these three things? Well, they're all pretty unreliable. Unreliable Bitcoin, unreliable 3D printing, unreliable machine learning. And so a euphemism for unreliable is just that it needs faith. And so I made Computer Faith, which is my email server. And I'll show you what Computer Faith does. So Computer Faith, this is an example of what Computer Faith looks like. So basically what you do is if you send an email, I should not do a live demo because I'm actually not even sure if this will work. So let's just say I send an email to like, I always try to do live demos and oh my gosh. And then I say like, and then I say, hello, I'm gonna say HELO, nice to meet you, let's see if this works. We'll see if it works. Send, and then it's sending. This probably is not gonna get sent to the sender because I'm pretty sure all spam filters have blacklisted this domain because I haven't done any of like the proper things to like actually get it to work. Okay, cool. So what it does basically is that it just like randomly like changes stuff in the email. I think the chaos setting is set to low right now. So if I had a really long email, but like for example, it just like capitalized the E. I think I definitely didn't do that. So basically, it just changes random stuff in your email. I should have set the chaos to very high for this talk, but I have not, alas. So, wow, I went fast. That's great. Okay, so. Anyways, yeah, that's Computer Faith. It's a email server that you need to have faith that it'll first be able to send your email because it's not very well configured, and also that it will not replace random things in your email with other tokens. I used to have it so that it would like translate it to another language and then translate it back to English, but then I was like, that's very English centric and I don't want that. And so that was like, okay, let's just like replace random stuff and like add chaos that way. Does anyone have any email lists? No? Start one, because let's bring back email if you want. And if you don't have an email, you can have an email on Computer Faith. I made all these emails that you can just have. They're already pre-populated with really spammy messages. For example, if you go to the inbox on Flower, you'll see that there's just a bunch of spammy spam. All the spam you could ever dream of. This is basically the utopia of email. I don't know why anyone would not take one of these emails because they're just so great. Anyways, so yeah, you can do that. Oh, and you can subscribe to my email list or whatever. Yeah, so that's it. Do I have time left? Let's see. 37. I have 3 minutes, and I'm going to talk about something completely different. I want to talk about something I was working on recently. It's called GPU, Turtle, and it's a work in progress, and this is it. And what it is that it's a turtle that will create a autoencoder using cellular automaton only. And basically, so it would use like a storage memory system, and like, whatever you need to be able to create an autoencoder, which is like a part of machine learning. But because it's a turtle doing it instead of your GPU, it would take like way more time. I actually haven't figured it out because it's a work in progress. And I'm also figuring out how to actually make the autoencoder in a cellular automaton. Right now it's just doing like Wolfram cellular automaton, so it's not very interesting. But I have the turtle going, and the turtle's doing its thing, and if you refresh it, it does a different cellular automaton. So with that, I have 2 minutes for questions about either of my works, Computer Faith or GPU, no, turtle.
Wow, Shar, that is beautiful. Thank you so much. Hold on, let me see if there's questions in the chat for you. Can the turtle send emails? Asks Will.
Oh my gosh, eventually. Give it enough time. Yeah, I'll give it its own way of recoding itself, and then it'll eventually figure out how to send emails.
Do you feel like you're at the stage in email right now, like where you just, especially for your server, like do you need early adopters in the same way that people sort of were early adopters to Bitcoin? Is that another a thing that you see exploding in the future?
Yes, for sure. I think Computer Faith is going to be the hub for all communication in the future, or something like that. Or, to be honest, it's probably just going to go away. But for this talk, it'll be the hub.
Okay, and for your last minute, Caroline would like to know, why do you think people hate email?
Oh, because capitalism. You don't hate email, you hate what capitalism did to email. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. I think there's more questions for you in the chat. Shar, you're amazing. Round of applause for you. Okay. Next up is Dan, who is going to share his screen momentarily, I believe. Okay. Take it away, Dan. Dan, I think you're muted.
I am muted. That's what it was. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, cool. I'm here to talk about AirGAN, which is a general adversarial network, which are algorithm architectures that use two neural networks pitting one against each other, adversarial, in order to generate new synthetic instances of data that can pass for real data. They're widely used in image generation, video generation, and voice generation. I'm Dan. I'm an artist, designer, and technologist out of New York. You can check out my website at makeittoathing.com. I'm a sneakerhead, and I've been working on a project where I've combined my passion for sneakers and passion for art and technology, and I've created machine learning designed sneakers. I happened upon this data set of 50,000 shoes from Zappos, and began this project last summer. And they kind of turned out like this. Very shapely. I did some explorations into kind of reversing the process where I fed it this Jordan 1 and it outputted what it thought it saw, which is very close to that. And we did it with this off-white high top, and it worked off really well. Also started doing a bunch of Nikes, and that started doing it well. Also some regular shoes well. But these, as the Nike team Innovation Lab says, great stuff, but why is it all blurry? As you can see, it is all very blurry. It is one of my problems. I didn't have the data that I needed in order to create a higher quality data set. So I hunted and hunted and hunted and hunted. And the day after they sent me this message, I found higher quality data and started generating these, which are called AirGANs. This is one interpolation, exploration of one set that's trained on kind of bespoke design sneakers and luxury brands. You can kind of see the Off-White in it. You can kind of see the Gucci. Here's one that's purely trained off of Nike, I think. Or this is like no, this has actually got some Balenciaga in it. So this is my, the curated one where I mix in Nike with Balenciaga and Gucci and some others. And it creates some rather interesting things. I started doing this on TikTok and started taking requests. What would you do? Wow, that's loud. I started doing these kind of histories of Nikes. So this is like a exploration of Jordan 1 through 9s in order. So it kind of transitions from the 1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 4 to the 5. the 6, I mean, all the way to the 12. It's kind of an interesting exploration into what's possible with machine learning. And once you train it, it kind of sees everything. I don't know. It's a thing I'm still trying to understand. Did it so well that I got like 10 million views on this one from Nike, and I've outperformed Nike's own TikTok, which is really funny. Oh, whoops, not going to click on that. I started to kind of create these sneakers and figure out what the next steps are. So we're kind of fully exploring these GANs. But now we've kind of taken the next step, and we went and created the first Air GAN 1. We took this render from our machine learning models and created a real sneaker. You can see here it is. It's a sample prototype we've had made at a studio in Philadelphia. It took about 6 to, it was like 12 weeks almost to get it. But we're launching sometime this week, this website, and featuring to try and kind of pre-run our Kickstarter. So please sign up if you would like to know more information about it. We're hoping to kickstart it at the end of May to try and build and create a run of these sneakers. Thank you, and I'd like to thank all of the speakers and the hosts and the planning committee for doing this. It's been a very fun time. We've got 5 minutes. Any questions?
Dan, yes, we have lots of questions for you. Okay, so what are your thoughts on teenage hypebeasts buying sneaker NFTs?
Well, I like that they're buying my sneaker NFTs. But like, it's interesting. There are some kind of apps out there that have gamified the sneaker collection thing, where you can kind of walk to accrue NFTs as you like walk around town and like get in your steps. You kind of unlock wearable content or virtual wearable content for your digital twin. Kind of interesting topic. So like twinning and like metaverse for sneakers that you can't possibly purchase because there are not enough pairs in society, but you could actually purchase a digital copy of it. But yeah, it's just kind of weird.
Whoa. Sam would like to know, do you use sneaker buying bots?
I do not. I at one point in time dabbled in them, attempted to write my own, but I just take L's like everybody else manually.
So
I have not actually gotten to buy a sneaker outside of the resale market in a while.
I have a question. What was the communication like with the manufacturing team, I'm assuming, when you sent them like machine learning images? I'm sure that was like maybe the first time they encountered that as a reference. What was that conversation like?
So the guy really, the sales guy really didn't understand it. But when the designer that kind of took it and translated into the vector drawings kind of realized what was going on, he was like, holy shit. And like he followed the project on Instagram and has been keeping up with us. But he did a great job of like capturing what the machine learning kind of was putting out, and like, and some liberties with some things, but like, sure he stayed very true. But he's very impressed with it and very wanted to know the process and
So-
how he could make it.
Ashish wants to know, are there any legal issues you've run into with generating like purely from Nike images new sneakers?
Haven't run into any legal issues so far. Nike's kind of been playing it. They sent me the message that it was great work, but like they haven't really reached out more than that. Technically, I'm only violating the copyrights of StockX because I scraped all the images from StockX, not Nike. Maybe that's where the legal issues will come from. I don't know.
Also, someone wants to know, can you use sneaker bots to buy everybody GPUs?
I wish. The sneaker bots are very expensive. They in themselves resale on the resale market for tens of thousands of dollars, like a good bot. Resale for
Whoa,
like $5,000.
so wait, like a sneaker bot is more expensive obviously than sneakers, right?
Yes, like you have to pay yearly membership, and then they cap it they like, turn it into its own hype economy to where they cap the amount of licenses, and so like you trade licenses between people for these things.
Whoa, wait, did you see that article where it came out that like one of the people like most involved in the secondhand sneaker market was like the son of a person who worked at Nike?
Yeah, she's the son of the VP of North America, like the person in charge of all VP like sales. It was insane because the guy was getting like 150, 200 pairs at every launch, was like racking up like tens of thousands of dollars in the company's store, and like no one caught on. Like, come on.
Whoa. Okay, wait. And so for the last minute, what were the decisions of like how to choose the style that you ended up going with for the sneaker that you ended up making?
So it kind of came down to kind of ease, and we wanted to have something that was at least doable for a factory to make, so it wasn't going to be too expensive. But the final sneaker that we're making, we're actually leaving that up to the Kickstarter community to vote on 10 that we've selected.
Wow, that is awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. And next up is Will. Who I believe is going to share their screen in a second.
Yeah, I'm running into some wonky.
Some chaos.
Okay, yeah. This should be good now, though. So.
I'm seeing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. See it. Perfect.
Okay, yeah. So, first off, I would really like to thank Claire Heinz-Cheeker and.
Oh, no. Wait. We lost your stream.
Oh, what? Did something happen to it?
Wait. Hold on. Maybe it was just me.
No, I also lost it.
I think we lost your stream. Yeah. Can you restart it? Sorry. And Leah says you've invoked my name and crashed the stream. True chaos energy.
Now I'm pressing it again, and it's not. Okay, wait. Open Discord. Somehow Discord minimized itself. I have no idea what's going on. Here, I'm gonna. It's like, oh my god. Okay.
No worries.
Okay, wait. I have an idea.
Yeah, can you hold up your phone? Just present it from there.
Literally what I was thinking. Okay, I won't get to do the cool.
If you want to try restarting it though, it definitely worked for a second there.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna leave and then.
It wouldn't be a true conference without a technical mishap.
No, I don't want to do any chaos gatekeeping, but I gotta say, I think I might be. Okay, let's go here. Share my screen. H sort. Okay, there we go.
Perfect.
So yeah, this is So now on to the actual meat and potatoes of my talk. I don't think this talk is going to be too chaotic. I'm just going to go through like a straightforward talk about, the service that most individuals know me for. And I'm here to clear up a few things. H-sort is not and will not go down in history as the so-called WeWork of sorting algorithms. Because, while the service is a little controversial, okay, H-sort, not to be confused with or affiliated with H&H sorting, was a venture I founded back in 2025 after a brief stint as a ludic, succulent, obsessed Instagram influencer because I felt our data was just too far out of our hands. Really wanted to demystify and democratize the data that companies were taking advantage of. So for the two people who don't know what H-sort is, it's a new sorting algorithm to be used with any and every data structure. It requires some, I guess you could say, distributed computing and a proprietary AI to get its API to get its results. But it's been touted by quite a few as a technology that was almost like prophetic in its predictive powers. But I'll touch on that later when I get to the cultural impact slide. So quick mock-up of how it is. So here's a an example of the JavaScript API. So first, using the node package, you got to get it from a require statement. Okay, next you construct your request. This consists of some data you want sorted. Sorted data is return type, an Ethereum wallet, and a specification for how you'd like the data to be sorted. I will get to the Ethereum wallet component on the next slide. And then after this is constructed, you can send this to the HSort server via the sort function. Now, what this does is sends the data off to our site h-so.rt, where the request is parsed and then matched with a user willing to sort the data. So once a willing user to sort is found, they're given an interface to drag the data to its correct order according to the output specified. So in this case, like a standard boring algorithm would output like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But a user has the opportunity to alter the data being sorted, as there are no requirements for how the data is returned, nor how much. So a user might not sort it properly, like up to the specification, or they might forget some data. And that's what happened in this example. You can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all in place, but this example users neglected the 6. And once the user believes the data has been sorted, they click done down here, and the JavaScript promise is resolved. And if you console log it, now you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a quick, a quick note about this. If the user times out while on the data entry page of this page, the request will be lost and the promise will never be resolved, and the program will hang forever. And to toss in a quick user statistic, we have an average calculation time of 3 to 4 hours for any given request, which is way better than the 3 to 4 days around the time of launch. So big improvement. But okay, you're probably wondering, sure, the service is fantastic and revolutionary, but how do we cover server hosting costs? And that's where the Ethereum address comes in. So HSort is funded on something I like to call the good faith model. So when someone using the API sends the data over to h-so.rt, said data is not encrypted. The h-so.rt user might be viewing sensitive information like private logins, social security numbers, or names linked with browser histories. And this is what's offered to the h-so.rt user, access to private information. So the API user must send an Ethereum wallet key with the data, and the h-so.rt user links an Ethereum wallet with their account upon signing up. And every time the user wants to receive some data to be sorted, they pay a fee to the data provider to get to see the data. And how much they pay is based on 2 factors. One is the volume of the data. Current exchange rate goes about 1 megabyte per dollar base tier. And the other component is the request's origin. So certain origins are more likely to contain sensitive information, so they demand like a higher premium. So 100% of the $1 cost for non-standard URLs, 125% for .com, 150% for .edu, and 300% for .gov, for obvious reasons. So the fee goes towards server maintenance and compensating the API user for actually choosing to use HSort. Now, HSort does at the moment take a 95% cut of the fees. Our server providers are eco-terrorists who believe that the potato is the only legitimate source of energy. Though this should change soon, as we're in talk with a man who owns about 1,500 hamsters. So the h-so.rt user then must sort the data and return it to the user requesting it before they can sort another request. Now, it's called the good faith model because it relies on exploiting the good faith of the API user to assume this dude is not going to do this. So now enough about money now. Let's talk impact. So Here's, I did a quick data analysis of references to HSort in major open source projects. Like in 3GS, there were about 0 calls, 0 references. Now, same case, sadly, with the Linux kernel, Blender. There's a function titled HSort, but it stands for height sort, so it doesn't make any reference to RHSort. I'll consider this half a reference. Now, in TensorFlow, there's 0 references, and in React, there's 0 references to the main code base. Well, there was one pull request that heavily referenced HSort, but it was dubbed a hypocrite commit, which is a commit that knowingly introduces bug/security flaws. There's one reference to HSort in this repo, which is not code, but just a list of cool computer science projects. It's under the entertainment section. And far and away, the repo that gets the most use out of HSort is the HSort server code with 79 references. Which I think is kind of speaks to its conceptual beauty, as it has to query itself to sort its own data. But I have to quickly speak on some what I believe are overblown controversies, and to get this out of the way, no, the First Church of the Sort is not a terrorist organization or a cult or a tax evasion or anything like that. It's just some people who see things sometimes in the data return. So they're really incredibly interesting people who made numerous very spiritual Python programs doing anything from predicting crypto markets to conversing with God. They're some of our top users. Now, about what people consider data leaks, like the North American Social Security number dump, we're not responsible for who uses the service and for what purposes. All we do is bring data from point A to point B and back to point A again. And our software always functions completely as we anticipate it to. And I'd finally like to reassure everybody wondering why their crypto balances shrink after creating an account and linking their wallet. Don't be alarmed, this is also intentional. I'd like to remind you that HSort server code also runs with HSort. So what I presume happened was that the user information was run through and somebody, just picked it up. Again, this is just from a few bad actors taking advantage of people. I'd be happy for any personal contact. You can reach me at stitchardrollman@eggplant.com or my Discord. I'm sorry for going a minute over, but yeah, thank you for my TED Talk.
Oh, we have so many questions for you in the chat, and just personally, we want to know if you're going to IPO, how can we incorporate this into our own servers? Because of the time, I think I'm going to ask you to answer those questions in the general chat, and thank you again. That is just a lovely, lovely chat that we just had. Okay, so next up is Connie and Tatiana.
Hello, I'll share my screen. How's this?
Perfect. I'm so excited. Yes, perfect.
All right. Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Connie.
And I'm Tatiana.
Oh, so Tatiana and I are giving this talk together. We got together to talk about what we wanted to present, and both of our practices aren't super chaotic, so we came up with something entirely new just for this presentation. We kind of bounced ideas off of each other yesterday night and this morning about what possible chaotic interfaces would look like, and we landed on animal interfaces. So what we're presenting today are patent-style concept sketches that show possible ways that animals can interface with humans or computers. So Tatiana's going to talk about this slide.
All right, I think it's taking a second for me.
Did it not update?
Not for me, but I'll just open it on mine. And okay, what do we mean by animal interfaces? So we're exploring interfaces in an animal context. So that can mean interfaces for animals, by animals, through animals, around animals, interfaces that are adapted for animals. And these are some of the concepts we came up with.
Okay, so the first one is for chickens. So we kind of thought about it, and we were what's the most chaotic animal out there? And chicken is a strong contender. So in this one, there's like 2 types of chicken technology. One on the left is like smart nest technology. So the chicken goes into its nest, and then there's like an egg-shaped computer, and then it does Face ID on the chicken, and then it pops open. And then there's 2 screens. One is like, so I talked to my friend who owns chickens, and she said that chickens have a very strong like social pecking order. So there's like a social media influenced by the pecking order. And then on the right, like Tatiana was talking, and she was like, you know how you can like have cartons and it's like this egg came from like this chicken? Well, we wanted to reverse that so like the chicken can see where their eggs went. And then on the right, another concern that my friend said that chickens have is like they're afraid of hawks. So like there's like armor for chickens. So like there's defensive mode and offensive mode. So the one on the top is like it just turns into like a giant steel egg, and then it can like roll away to defend itself from hawks. But then the one on the bottom is like, I feel like if it's gonna have armor, like why can't it like go on the offensive? Like why can it only defend itself? Like we should provide it with more tools. So the one on the bottom is kind of offensive, and then it has like a heads up display to like show like hawk incoming or where the food is. And then it has like a drill for the beak, because I don't know, that's just what my friend thought would be useful for chickens, and I trust her because she has chickens. And that's that one. So we're gonna move on to the next one. Tiana's gonna talk about this.
All right, so this one, we thought, what would it mean if an animal was the interface? So instead of cell phones, you have a rat or a mouse, and you talk to your rat, then it sings or screeches at a particular pitch to reach the designated receiving rat, and that rat hears it and then translates it to you. So you can see that on the top drawings in order. And then what if you want to talk to somebody and they're like on the other side of the country? Well, it might take a while, but we're going to have like a rat relay situation that can either go above ground or below ground. So your rat is you're going to tell your rat the message, and then it's going to send it to another rat, which will send it to another rat, which will send it to another rat. It's going to get received. It can also go through sewers, since rats live in sewers. And that's kind of a peer-to-peer network situation, and each rat has a specific tone instead of like a phone number. You screech at like the specific pitch, and that's how it knows that that is the rat that needs to receive the message.
Okay,
So moving on
for
to our next project.
For the next one, this one's like kind of inspired by Ratatouille, but the idea is like, how could a rat interface with a human? Like, how can they have like a symbiotic relationship? And for that, we think that a human, like probably like Remy had to like be evolved so that he has like a central lobe. Sorry, not Remy, I meant me. That's the human that's being controlled, but like he has to have a central lobe, and then like, sorry, this is informed by like my very minimal knowledge of biology, so I'm gonna get a lot of things wrong. But there's gonna be a central lobe, and then like there's like special neural hair, and then the rat's like pulling on the hair, and then the central lobe is like connected to the spinal cord, and that controls like the body. Tatiana, do you have anything to add for this one?
I think you covered it pretty nicely. It just connects to, like, instead of normal hair like on the side of his head or his eyebrows, it's going to have like, these hairs are directly connected to the neurons that operate the motor system. So that's how he's able to move in that puppet-like style.
Cool. Okay, so for the next one.
All right, so this one is more of interfacing for animals, but it's taking what we already have, which is like grocery stores, and instead of making it direct to consumer, we're bypassing the third-party system, but it's direct to producer. So instead of getting your milk from a farmer, you're getting your milk from a cow. The cows run the grocery store. They have a little cow bungalow where they sell butter, cream, cheese, milk, and instead of like money, you would be able to like barter with like, what does a cow need? They don't need money. That doesn't make sense. So like hay or grass or things like that. So they're in charge of their own byproducts, and it's rebuilt around the animal. And then, so our next and final project is adapting current human interfaces to work for animals. So we have 2 examples on this slide, which our concept for this was kind of like keyboards or like data transmission. So what would a keyboard for a hummingbird look like? Well, it's not going to look like a human keyboard because they're tiny. So instead we took like a hummingbird feeder, and then you can get the sugar, and that sends a little signal. So that's how you type, in this case, the letter E. And then what would a keyboard look like for a bat? Well, it's going to be upside down, and it's got a little perch that he can hang on, and you can change the oscillation and the frequency since bats do that like high pitched screechy thing. And then you can press the send button, and that'll send.
And then for our final thing, we just wanted to like mention that like I was gonna make a dog keyboard, but then I was like, wait, those already exist. So here they are. They exist in real life. It's like you teach your dog that like by pressing on certain like knobs, you get they get like a certain response. So if you press like a button, maybe it like says treat, and then you give the dog a treat, and it learns that if it presses that button with that sound, it's gonna get a treat. So I've always wanted to get one of these for my dog. So that's it. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, so we have like a minute left if anybody has any questions.
First of all, thank you so much. There's a ton of questions in the chat for you guys to answer post-talk, but I think one of the most important questions, they want to know if your rat communication software is end-to-end encrypted.
Not for rats, but yes, for people.
Oh, that's beautiful. And it looks like you
The rat
also...
cheater that you bring, and they like divulge all the rat secrets.
And what are you doing to mitigate rat race conditions?
Our best. Doing our best.
It's not a competition. It's not a race. It's more of like a cooperative effort.
Yeah. It's community based. Like your rat can leave you at any time, so you have to treat it right. So all the rats are happy. Otherwise, it's an opt-out system.
That's really beautiful.
You have to just like accept that it's going to take however long it takes for the message to get to you. So if like one occurs before the other, it's perfectly fine.
And the good thing is that you don't, in this universe, you don't have the cell phone, so you're not used to like the immediacy, and it's more of like a natural, like slightly faster than mail.
Also for encryption, like I actually did a different project a few years back that was called Meat Messenger, and it dealt directly with the idea of like how to do encryption through animals. So I feel like there are like ways, for example, for like images, you could like plot points that represent the image, and then like you would encode them, and then you have a separate key. So one animal carries the decoding key, and then like the rest of the animals carry like the data bit by bit. And then like at the end, after you've received all of the messages from all of the animals, including the key that like one of the animals carries, then you can like decrypt it manually.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for your talk, and this is just a blessing. And make sure you guys look up AlgoRat, who a couple of the people who've spoken here tonight are a part of a collective that deals with rat-based content. Okay, so next up we have Maddie.
Okay, here. One sec.
Who's going to grace us with her presence. All right. We're watching your stream, and we see it. You're good to go.
I'm sorry, Claire. I can't do it over group chat. I'm gonna switch over to this other thing I made a while back with an artist named Nina Wickford called Pasties. Actually, I'm just gonna paste it in the chat for you guys to see. Yeah, so it really be just, okay, well, yeah, so anyways, sorry, I'm Maddie I'm a big believer in the internet and software. I'm really into copy and pasting too. Sometimes it's not a great presentation strategy though, unfortunately. But I'm really interested in the art of copy and pasting. I made this collaging copy paste tool just because I feel like, it's like, I don't know, I ran this, you can tell I didn't prepare. I ran this, back when people were on Facebook for a while, I ran this Facebook group called Pasties, which was just, the only rule was that you had to you could only post your paste. So you have to, but it just as like a sort of a, you kind of see people copy and paste a lot of things. Sometimes it's like, what is that? I don't know. Or, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes people use it as like a means to delete things. Other times it's like, maybe somebody was, typing and retyping a letter to someone and, had to kind of move it over to the chat room. I'm really, like, I feel like, I really am tired, like, of computers in general, and I feel like, I just feel like we could all use some, more, like, thinner, crazier tubes to sort of try and push human language through, or just communication in general. But I think sometimes it goes wrong. I don't know. I've been thinking a while back, I was thinking a lot about, I don't know if you remember when Seamless was brand new and like Grubhub and all that stuff. It's really hard because now I feel like we buy a lot of things through like Grubhub or whatever. But, like people would, I think there's always been a sick fascination online with, buying pizza, sort of like really making pizza a lot better, pizza ordering and delivery. And so, like, I don't know, I think about 2004, Corey Archangel made this thing called Pizza Party, which was like a command line tool. The only reason I got into computers in general was because I think some MIT kids made an emergency pizza button, and then like a decade later, Domino's paid off someone to like make the same thing. As a pizza button that you press. But I don't know, that's kind of fucked up to me because there's like a lot of people who make pizzas, and it's kind of weird to just assume that like the only items or pizza in the experience of buying pizza is you and the pizza. That's kind of false. And two, like, so anyways, way back when Grubhub was starting, I was really freaked out. There were these things called ghost kitchens that started setting up. I think this Mix 95.7 write-up does a really good job explaining what it is. It sounds like it's a kitchen that doesn't really exist and just shows up in the fog or something, but not true. It's actually a place where you can order food, but you can't sit down at a restaurant. You can only have it delivered, and it usually has no real location. It's kind of like it's a ghost kitchen. And I was like, I don't know, that was really disconcerting to me. I was like, how do I commune with the pizza place? And so I wrote a tutorial to do that called Pizza Seance. Pretty simple. So basically you log on to your favorite pizza delivery site, and then you order a pizza with the topping of your choice. And then there's these instructions that you have to type in. And then, so you're communing, it's a way for you to commune with the ghost kitchen and sort of get advice from beyond the text box, if you will. And so you can sort of, in this case, we had a pizza party, and we asked the pizza a question, and then when we opened it, it revealed M for maybe. So it's sort of, it's a way to commune with the pizza gods or whatever. I'm not really, I just but I still feel weird, it's like, I don't know, I guess these ideas of ghost kitchens or emergency pizza buttons or whatever is just some classic, alienated from all the workers and labor behind kind of the nice stuff you have shit, but I don't really know how to deal with it other than I guess trying to turn it into a joke. Anyways, so that's my talk. Thank you for listening. And thank you too to Claire for organizing this. This is it's very sweet. I really love this.
For just the last minute, can you just tell us really quickly about Poop Chat Pro?
Oh yeah, so Poop Chat Pro is a shit first interface that lets you sort of, you kind of just, you're like a little blob, and when you text, you poop the text, and then you can sort of highlight the poops, and that's how you read the communication. It's sort of it's like an anti-ordered, sort of against any sort of linear order for communique. But yeah, any other questions?
It's so beautiful. I just joined you in the poop chat and posted the link in case anyone else wants to join. Okay, so I think we have our keynote up next. But thank you so much. Long live copying, pasting, pooping, and pizza.
All the gross ways of getting by.
So true. All right. Next up, we have Gorgonzola Leviathan.
That's right.
Unless I pronounced your name wrong, Gorgonzola, I'm so sorry.
It's Gorgonzola.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you okay. Thank you for traveling so far to give this talk. Did you want to share your screen?
Thank you. Yes, I wish to share my screen. I will do that. Screen share. Go just a moment. Here we go. I think this is the one. Okay, I have to put on the slides now. Can you tell me, please, if you...
Yes, beautiful.
You do see my slides?
We do.
Very good. Thank you. Why do I hear so much typing? Is that you, Claire?
It's not me.
Somebody's typing very loud. It's just disturbing.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. We'll try to fix that behind the scenes.
Mute the people or something. This is just not good. Fucked up. Okay, well, I want to say hello. I'm Dr. Gorgonzola Leviathan. And I'm going to speak today about an ominous future-aiding new directions in creative technology. And just a moment, a small adjustment, please, while I just fix a couple of things here. Go. I want to say greetings, friends, colleagues, and foes. I'm deeply honored by the invitation to address you this evening. And I also wish to offer special acknowledgements to Sam Levine for the coveted Achievement in Chaos Award, which I know we will all agree is long overdue. Just a moment. Sorry, I think I am ready then. So this evening I'm going to talk to you about cryptologic interface design, terminal constraints on the scope of the human psyche, and some possible pitfalls in the design of our systems. And I'll bring your attention to the ways in which we can address these issues, as well as the ways that our minds and bodies can be manipulated in an infinite way, and how we can change what we do with them. Typically, a user interface designer will design all the screens of a product and create the visual elements and their respective properties that facilitate user interaction. To achieve this, they use things like patterns, spacing, text, and color to guide the user. Anomaly in the context of user experience design then is usually considered an adversarial relationship with order. And to that end, I would like to discuss 3 anomalous interface and interaction design workflows with paranormal implications. The first is the hamburger adjacency problem, in which a text element is fed into a document flow by another element. The task at hand is to transform the raw text into a reasonable looking HTML document or other design. The often used bounce, as it has been called by Xerox Corporation, is an easy and effective way of manipulating such a codex. However, if the text element comes from a sub-basement in the house, bounces over the floor, then touches a plate of hamburger, it is probably not going to end up in a website. Indeed, it scarcely registers on all but the most sensitive PKE meters. So, kicking things up a notch, I want to continue with our discussion of anomalous design interaction scenarios with paranormal implications. I wish to describe the astral surveillance device in which specialist seekers use subwave media to infiltrate a subject's electric organs in order to translate their magnetic signals into a legible form. Astral surveillance devices require a physical apparatus for collecting and transmitting psychokinetic signals and an active link with the corresponding material world. They consist of an efficient power supply and a receiver, a wave-forming base station, and a suitable gain medium. For the instrument to be useful, it must send a continuous stream of computer readouts that are well suited for psychokinesis and very low energy, like a kilowatt or less, telepathy. The process of transmitting psychokinetic signals is known as psychotransmission, and it can be defined as the transmission of speech or images by means of a spectral link. Perhaps the most worrisome concern is paranormal bias in artificial intelligence training sets. It's easy to foresee highly complex AI programs that would attempt to understand psychic phenomena in lieu of empirical data. And although the consensus of science-based researchers agrees that the human mind possesses specific cognitive and emotional attributes that cannot be duplicated by computers, there are technologies emerging that make it more likely that biased psychokinetic signals will be identified as machine transmissions. A helpful analogy is that from the perspective of your stomach, all potatoes are mashed potatoes. Obviously, there's no way of insulating AI from the mind of its makers. Even more frightening is that intelligent systems with strong telekinetic powers could be unintentionally used by the government to advance totalitarian agendas. According to one astral espionage account, there is already evidence that such a device was used by the United States Air Force in the mid-1990s to generate a mind-altering form of ultrasonic radiation from a pilot-induced plasma field, essentially orchestrating a psychokinetic attack from a near-Earth orbiting astral satellite system. A more recent observation is that a number of US drones, likely equipped with astral surveillance equipment, have been spotted targeting astral projection black sites and remote astral launch sites. Tragically, an increasing number of paranormal surgeries, I'm sorry about the image, worldwide are being attributed to individual psychokinetic attacks from these devices. In the realm of more intimate technology, I'd like to now shift to discussing the use of artificial intelligence in paranormal flatulence recognition, which has an especially problematic history. In 2007, the Los Angeles County Museum of Art introduced a technology that's still basically in use today. But the release, which was based on an earlier study of 400 years of flatulence data, was deemed a failure. And the museum removed it from the tour shortly after. The museum didn't explain why it wouldn't support artificial intelligence that recognize body functions, but obviously it is a difficult subject for computers to properly understand. Frankly, flatulence recognition systems have highly demanding UX/UI requirements. For this reason, Flatulence Analytics, a company specializing in practical systems for flatulence detection, recognition, and analytics, has pioneered one of the first accurate flatulence detection systems. The company claims it can identify a fart in as little as 30 seconds. The CEO and co-founder of Flatulence Analytics, Tim Martin, has said that it all started when he was bored on a flight. FATS is an open source system that takes gas detection data captured on an embedded sensor to convert it into a score for each gas. It generates a summary of the overall flatulence profile of the current environment. Sorry, I need to go back a slide. One moment. Can I go back? Yes. Yeah, thank you. Okay, sorry. Just I hit the button by accident. So FATS is an open source system that takes gas detection data captured on an embedded sensor and converts it into a score for each gas, generates a summary of the overall flatulence profile of the current environment. The system achieves accurate detection for many common expulsions. Their goal is to let users discreetly analyze the different types of flatulence they have, but there are significant considerations for surveillance. Take the recent farts in an apartment complex that were flagged by artificial intelligence. The process seemed straightforward enough. The AI computer system learned to distinguish between the flatulence and someone sneaking out to smoke by incorporating clues from the data. The computer would look for these telltale patterns in the signals, then it would figure out if the sounds were related to a human or computer gas release. But some humans didn't take kindly to their farts getting branded as moral violations. To get an idea of the state of the art, Flatulence Analytics posted a video to YouTube on April 1st of a prototype product demonstration. The production team enlisted the help of 3 actors who volunteered to inhale gas with the flatulence detection system on their backs. The volunteers were trained with a training protocol based on the US military's SITRAC program, the purpose for identifying the fart's sound, temperature, and kinetic charge. The flatulence detectors were placed on actors' backs to gauge how much gas they could absorb before their bodies started to break down, and also how much gas they could release themselves. The video shows the flatulence readings from the test subjects and shows that in one case, the fart could be detected over 50 feet away by a human-shaped device that wasn't involved with the testing. Clearly, much work remains in addressing not only the technology, but also the ethics of intimate surveillance. This was sort of a review of the current state of the art. My own work actually is in semantic itch recognition, but that's a talk for another time. And I want to thank you all very much for your attention today. I have to stop the screen or stop the share.
Dr. Gorgonzola, what a blessing this talk was. I would actually
Gorgonzola.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I would like to invite any of the speakers now to join me and ask questions of you, because I feel like...
I'm sorry, just no questions.
No questions, okay.
We didn't agree on questions.
Okay, no questions. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. And with that, we end the Chaotic Interface Design's first ever lecture series, Chaotic Conversations. Feel free to join us in the scheming room for an after party, as I don't even know if Discord can handle that many videos, but we'll find out. Thank you to all the speakers. Special thank you to, again, just literally everybody. Congratulations to Sam Levine for his award, to our keynote. We're so grateful to all of our speakers. Thank you so much. And thank you for all of us who joined us. We did confirm that there was a live stream capture of this, and do with that link what you will. Thank you, everybody. I love you all. I'm like in tears because of laughing so hard, but also because I love everybody I know so much. Okay, goodbye. Hit the scheme room.
That was fucking fantastic.
Oh my God. Wait, hold on. Let me turn off my live stream. Please. I was crying during Golan's. 1 second.
I feel like that, like if you showed that talk to like some people, I feel like they would